Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it may be for you. Thank you for tuning in today to another edition of the United Spurs of America. I'm your host, Jacob. No Michael today. He's traveling. He's quite the businessman. He's quite the entrepreneur, if you will. But I do have some beautiful, lovely guests just hanging out with me. We were just chatting, having a good time. So I'm just going to bring them in without further ado. We got the Kuva, the one and only, the Kuv. How you doing, good sir?
Yeah, doing okay here, thanks. Bit of a rough week health-wise, but looking up now.
Yeah,
we'll soon be past that World Cup stage, and then Spurs on the horizon.
It's right there. I know, man. I feel like I can see it off yonder. We're so close. We're so close. Speaking of close, I want to bring in this beautiful gentleman right here, the Cough from the coffee company, Coffee on Tour still, with Tottenham on tour.
Tottenham on tour.
Everything, everywhere.
We're here.
International Kaufman. How you doing?
Doing all right. Been a shite couple of days. Managed to do my ankle in pretty badly the other day, but we are absolutely fine at this moment in time, and we're getting through it. We're going to have to get through the pain somehow, so why not spend time with Mr. Bentancur himself and Mr. Coos himself? Might as well have some fun, right?
Oh yeah, let's have some fun. I mean, excuse me, like Kuva said, there's plenty to talk about. There's plenty on the horizon. I feel like it would be not the right idea if we didn't talk about the World Cup final. We do have two Tottenham Hotspur players playing in it, so there is a little stock emotional investment, if you will, from my part. I don't know, Kuva, I know where you stand with this World Cup. Do you have any preference as far as who? Do you care if Lionel Messi lifts it? Do you care if it's Hugo, two-time to break? I think it's history, first country to ever do that.
You know what, Jacob? That I didn't even know who was in the final till you said that.
Well, there you go. Do you want Kuti or Hugo to win it?
Hugo's already won it, so I think it'd be fitting if Messi finishes his career with a World Cup win. He's just been an incredible player.
I like that. That's fair.
So that he can drag Romero along with him. Bit of cutie to win the World Cup. Why not?
Why not? I would love to see it, honestly. I think that's a good way to just let Lionel go out, his final World Cup, let him go out in style. Kind of ends the conversation, closes the book, in my opinion, on the whole greatest of this generation. I don't want to say greatest of all time, because there's a guarantee of a full list of players that I don't necessarily have ever watched in my lifetime, but were outstanding, i.e. like Pele, etc. So, but of my generation, it's either Ronaldo or Messi. So I think that kind of will close the book on that, and that'll be a nice little closure, I think. Ben, how do you feel about it? Where do you stand?
Again, I don't care unless England's in the final. I'm relatively patriotic when I can be, but if this is going to be a proper football game, this is probably the best two teams have reached the final. Pound for pound, these are probably the two best teams. And when you have a magician like Lionel Messi in your team, anything is possible. I know there is a small little inkling that Karim Benzema might play tomorrow, which would just be, if you've ever seen the Royal Rumble when John Cena came back at number 30, it's that. It's just going to be Karim Benzema's going to turn up and win the World Cup. It's just, all these possible little outcomes can happen, and it's just going to be magical. Hopefully Hugo wins. I love Hugo. He's captain of our football club, and it'd be brilliant to see him win another trophy, because then he's the captain, so he can spread the vibes of the winningness to the team.
Yeah.
And that's what you want your captain to be a winner.
On the other hand, it also gives rise to the debate. Hugo can win things when he's not at Spurs.
Yeah.
But I feel a little bit redemption, if you will, whenever Hugo has that outstanding matches like he did against England, like he did when they just played Morocco. He had a hell of a save versus Morocco too. He's playing outstanding this World Cup. And I've always said he's world class. I'm in the keepers union, so by law I have to defend my man Hugo Lloris.
What happens when you go to a thing that has a decent centre back in front of you instead of another
or two
in front of you? When you've got decent defenders in front of you, you can do well as a goalkeeper. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Real quick, I do want to get through some of the comments, say what's up to some people in the chat. First and foremost, big up to the Patreon members. Let me go ahead and drop the ticker down below to thank all the patrons of this channel. You go above and beyond supporting, just hitting that like and subscribe. So I want to say what's up, Alan Sibley, 10-inch, none other than himself, Reyes Jr., Soggy Undies Club members there. In the 10-inch club, we got Goguma, Leo COYS with Mile High Hotspur, and C. Shearman. And we also got official supporters club, Scott M., James George, Jayco, David, Aaron Dobe, Jamie, and Jack Knickie. Big up all yourselves. And in the beautiful Lovers Lane, we also have Bobby K, Gina Kim, Tom Markinen, Colin, and C Cubed. So big up all yourselves, you great and beautiful people who help support this channel and make this channel go round. So big ups. And we all, hey, look, we already got some Lovers Lane in the chat. Bobby K was here before the show. Big up Lisa. Lisa says she's able to join the show live. Big ups. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Ellie from THFC Till I Die. How you doing? Hope you're feeling better as well. I know the bugs are going around this time of season, so big up. Ellie says hello, Jacob and Michael. No Michael today. Unfortunately, he's traveling. He's a big, suave man, like I said off the top. But big ups, Ellie. Thank you for being here. Big ups, Elias. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. Big up yourself. Thank you for being here, new to the show and new in the chat. So thank you for tuning in today. We'll all be your friend. How about that? You don't just need one friend. You got a bunch of friends. Scott M., the original member of the patron. Scott M., how are you doing? My Canadian friend says, who let the troublemaker Bobby K in the chat? Good afternoon. I hope everything is good with you. I hope everything is good with you, Mr. Scott M., because thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. I hope you're doing well. Haven't really spoken to you since Canada got knocked out the cup, but that's okay. We can still talk. We're still cool. Bobby K is here. I love Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer loves me. I don't know if he loves you. You may love him. I don't love him. I did leave him a spot on the couch.
Like two, isn't it?
Eric Dyer to me, no. That's all. No.
No.
Anything you want to put him in any equation, the answer for me will be no.
We're being linked with Harry Maguire, and I'm thinking that'll be a good upgrade just because of Eric Dyer.
How sad is that? I hate Harry Maguire.
Exactly.
I hate him.
I
call him Harry McDyer.
He's been very good at this tournament. You've got to give him that. He's been very decent.
I think there's something to be said about the fact that, you play good in the tournament for your club, i.e. Giovanni Lo Celso. If he was not a broken, bow-legged Jenkins, he would have played in this World Cup and probably played outstanding for Argentina. But you know what? He's one of those guys that only shows up. I think there's something to be said about those kinds of guys. Now, I'm not saying it cannot translate, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say 9 times out, let's say half the time, it might not be your best option to say, oh, this guy had a beautiful World Cup. Now we need to go and spend big on, or overspend, if you will, on a player that say could have been 15, 20 mil. Now you're going to spend 35, 40 because, oh, he was outstanding in the tournament. And I think this goes back to a character that I never heard about till we were linked with him, was Amrabat. And then he has a great tournament. So now we got Spurs fans that were once like, who the hell is this guy? Like me. Fair play. I didn't know who the hell he was. I don't watch Fiorentina. That's one of my friend's favorite Serie A teams. It's not mine. I like Udinese, if you will, because Udogi, that's who I watch. So I don't watch Amrabat, but he's had a great tournament. Does that mean we should sign him? I feel like he plays, from what I've seen from the World Cup, I feel like he plays similar to like a Hojbjerg, similar to like a Basuma, and we're still trying to fit Basuma somewhere in the squad. So I don't know if we need to keep clogging up. There's other positions. We'll talk about more of that later. But Eric Dyer needs to be replaced. Just wanted to say that off the top.
There's one other central midfielder you didn't mention that we have.
Bentancur.
There we go.
Because he's not going anywhere. Because there used to be a debate about like who's it. To me, at least on this channel, between me and Michael, it was always like, all right, what's our best midfield combo? And I was always like, Basuma got to go somewhere. And that's just, I feel like he's that good. But time and time again, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Rodrigo Bentancur, they both continually prove why they deserve to start. Like Kulusevski, it was the same thing whenever Richarlison was brought in. That was the way I saw it. It was like, oh, clearly this is going to be someone to compete with Kulusevski. He sucks on the right. We play him on the left. He's not good on the left. The only spot Richarlison is good on is the middle. We saw that this World Cup. In the Champions League, when he scored for us, what was he doing? Attacking balls in the air in the middle of the box. That's what his talent is. That's what he's good at. That's where we need to put him in the positions to do that. So big up Mick. I don't know why I started talking about Richarlison, but that midfield, we're starting to have...
Richie will have a good part to play at Tottenham, though. But in the words of Brian Daigle, we need defenders. We need defenders. We need
defenders and a right wing back. Doherty, I don't care if he scores 3 against Motherwell and Mother Goose. It don't matter how many people he score against in the Scottish League. Go play in the Scottish League if that's where you're good, because you're not good in the Premier League. You're not good in the Champions League. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Royale. I'm done with Royale. I'm a little upset with some of these players, and I love Antonio Conte. And whenever there's such a divide on like what Conte's doing versus what we're seeing and all this and that, like it's hard for me to look away from what Conte has done with shambles of players like Eric Dyer, Ben Davies. How did we get Champions League? And then now and then some fans, I think they flip on him when it's not really going the way that they want to see it go. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one for me. But I think the midfield's getting clogged up. That's what I do want to say. I don't think we need to look at midfielders. We maybe look at an attacker later, but like right the fuck now, we need center backs, 2. If you're being smart, we need 2 quality center backs, and we need a top 8 right wing back in the world. Bottom line, and top 8's being generous to both sides. I think I don't want to spend too much, take too big of a risk, and we need to go drop the bank because it's just tough. I feel like we have such a good squad, but we're lacking in such key areas that it makes the good spots that we have look poor, if you will. Like Hugo Lloris, he's a damn good keeper. Why does he not look so good when he's playing the ball at his feet and there's a high press against him? Because that's not what he's good at. That's not a position we should be putting our captain in. And the same thing, Harry Kane's had a great tournament. But he gets blamed, Son gets blamed when we don't score goals. So it's like we need that linking play on the right or on the left. Perisic can't be playing the right and the left. How is he our best right wing back and our best left wing back? You can't have one player being the best on both.
He's shown this tournament that he's a lot better as a left winger. So maybe we need to be buying 2 left wing backs and put Perisic as a left winger, and Sonny can rest a couple of games. Because clearly he's really good there. He's superb as a left winger, even at his age. It's crazy, really.
His talents have always been putting the ball into the box with accuracy, scoring a few goals as well. That's the only bit I'd say is really lacking from his game at the moment. You'd expect him to score a few, but I agree. He's not looking like a great left wing back, but left wing, yeah, I'm all for it.
Lisa says, big up Kuva and Ben. Glad to see you in good spirits in spite of the fall. Hi, Alt. Hello to all in the chat. I love this. I'm way behind on the comments, so I'm just gonna run through some of these. Big up Mick, thanks for being in the house. Big up Lisa. Big up Steak, Alexander Steak in the house. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had some nice holiday steaks. Alan Sibley from the Soggy Undies Club is in the house. Big up yourselves, Alan. Says, good evening, Jacob, Ben, and Kuva. Hope you're doing well, Alan. I didn't want to rub your nose too much in that England defeat because what could I say? We were out before you, but we made it out the group, baby. Come on, we made it out the group. That's all I wanted.
Out the group.
That's all I wanted. To me, that's a huge dub. Big up David Clark. He wants France to win only because it will give England fans an excuse to say, oh, well, at least we lost to the world champions. We aren't that bad. Southgate out? Question mark.
I'm worried if he leads his job now, and Conte does walk, we could end up with him.
Big up Danny Kiriakou. Danny Kiriakou. I think he's going to make his debut on the channel shortly.
Oh,
That'll be nice. First time for everything. So it'll be nice having the bun on the channel.
As already discussed, he said he will be here shortly, but it's Danny Kiriakou, so we'll probably be next week's show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm married into a Greek family, so I understand what that Greek timing's all about. Whenever he's able to bless this stream with his presence, that'll be a good time. So big up yourself, Danny Kiriakou. Tricky one, big up yourselves. Can't answer the poll this week. Don't want neither of them to win. I gave you some other options there on the poll. Thank you for reminding me. The poll is open and it is live. It's got 20 votes. The video has 13 likes. So if we could somehow figure out where those 7 people are, what their home addresses are, their place of occupation, and we're going to ask them to like this video because they participated in the poll, but they're not participating in the algorithm sharing of this video. But that's fine. You want to be a hater? I always said I welcome hating ass motherfuckers, but also some people are just forgetful. The poll says World Cup final, and I give you some options. You know, Argentina, France, or you don't care. The last option was kind of my favorite. If it ain't sunny, I ain't listening.
yeah.
That's kind of how I feel some days, you know. Just I don't care if it's not Heung-min Son. I love him. I can't wait to watch. He's training with the mask. Have y'all seen the photos in the video?
The mask of Zorro is back.
Zunny? Is it Zunny or Soro? That's what I want to know. That's what the real poll should be. I'm about to close this poll and I'm gonna change it to, is it Mask of Zunny?
Call it Sorrow.
Or Soro?
There's a lot of sorrow about what the following Spurs is.
There's always Zorro at Tottenham.
Tricky one saying Dyer ain't that bad. We could do a lot worse. Yeah, we could. He's called Sanchez. We've got him as well.
Or you could also do worse. You could get the guy that we're linked with, Harry Maguire. Yeah, he had a great World Cup. He always plays good for England, doesn't he? But I don't even think he starts for his club anymore.
It's what happens when you go into a system that the manager plays such defensive football that has 2 holding midfielders ahead of him instead of none, and suddenly he starts conceding goals.
Yeah.
Chris.
Big up, Chris. How you doing? Says big up, lads. Everyone in the chat. Big up, David Clark, Stuart. Evening, Jacob Kuvan, Ben. Everyone in the chat. Big up, Stuart. Thanks for being here. David Clark says Amrabat was at Watford. Didn't anyone notice him when he was there? I didn't hear about him until we were linked with him. So I don't know who else might have heard of him. Carl Simpson, big up yourself. Thanks for being here tonight, today, wherever you may be.
Guys.
Hope you're doing well. Patty Hartnett in the house.
Patty.
What is up, Patty? Says evening, you good folk. Don't forget Conte has loads of time with French players during the World Cup, so that can only be a good thing. You know, it's actually an interesting point that you bring up. Players like, I don't even want to say French. I'll say key players for our club, like Kulusevski, coming back from an injury, just continually training. I mean, yes, the likes of French players like Doherty, Hill, these players that we're not necessarily thinking, me personally, I'm not necessarily thinking we're going to get much out of at this current juncture in the season. If he's able to turn something, or hopefully Jed Spence has done something. He's hung out with Antonio Conte. Maybe they got tea and biscuits and a Peroni, or I don't know, a biscotti or something. Because if Jed Spence can somehow convince Conte that he should get some game time, that he is the man for the job, it's sad that I'm at this point where I'm begging for our manager to take a look at this 20-some-year-old kid.
He's not
because
ready.
He's not ready. But is Emerson ready? Is Doherty ready?
I would say I don't think Emerson's ever playing a football game again, because if you notice, Emerson is training, but for the pre-season game we played against Motherwell, there was not even Emerson on the bench. He rather played Spence, and when Spence came off, no, Spence didn't come off. He brought on Doherty. Now that Doherty is actually fit, because he's had a terrible injury which he received from Matty Cash, Poland's Matty Cash. Still bizarre that Matty Cash plays for Poland, but he's not been fit the entire season. So I fully expect that first game against Brentford that Doherty is going to play, and I think as soon as we got a chance to get rid of Emerson, I think he's gone. I think he's done with him.
I think Emerson was probably meant to be on the bench. He just missed.
Yeah.
He didn't. He lost his seat. He
No,
turned
he
over
sit
his
back.
seat to the opposition. He put it on the other side's bench,
Yeah.
so you could sit. And that's it's. I struggle with that because it's like Doherty's not that good though. we still need a fucking right wing back, man. Doherty's not. I'm not excited to see.
Didn't understand the
When he
sense
took the-
behind signing either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Emerson Royale, we bought him on deadline day, like right before it closed. Just let's get a body, and he still starts for our club. I don't understand. After the no look pass, I would have taken his fucking jersey number away
Yeah.
because that was atrocious.
It's not just the no-look pass. It's the fact he put it on Instagram afterwards that he did a good thing. That is like, that's the end of your football career, son. You are done. You are cleaning toilets for the rest of your time.
Ah, man. I hope we figured. That's my number one priority because I feel like there's a lot of options out there January and in the summer. That's my number one priority. We need a top 8 in the world. I'm not asking for a top 5, just a top 8. Someone who can fucking cross the ball into the box from the right side. So Kulusevski isn't fucking doing everything over there.
That looks like they've played professional football before.
Dumfries would be a welcoming sign, but I'd love to see a Wilfred Singo, or a Maley.
Yeah.
There are so many good right wing backs with not a lot of money playing. And this is why we've got an Italian director of football. We play an Italian system. Get some Italian style right wing backs who get up the pitch and cross the ball. Who would have thought?
Realize you have about 40% of in the wall.
I think there's a few more we need.
Yeah, we gotta get the numbers up. Well, 2 out of 3. I mean, that's actually 60%.
No, it's we need Rez, we need Bobjet, there's a few people.
Yeah, Rez and Barry and from the Shelfshire Spurs show. Yeah, big up Stuart, big up everyone in the chat. Trying to not miss anyone. Adrian Stroka, what's up?
Hey,
how you doing? It was Amrabat's brother at Watford, says Carl Simpson. Nice one. Thanks for answering that.
No, I think it was the same one. I'm pretty sure he was there on loan for a while.
We'll have to look it up. Google is
I have no idea.
United Spurs of America, sponsored by Google.
It was before.
Yeah, Google
he
come
signed
sponsor.
for Fiorentina anyway. It was I can't remember the club he was at. There was some unfashionable side, but he went to Fiorentina afterwards. That's where he really sort of started to.
Verona he was at before Fiorentina. He was at Verona and he was very good there. Then he went to Fiorentina. It sort of tapered out.
So maybe it was his brother, like Carl Simpson said.
Might have been.
Big up Cubes. Cubes is here in the house. Says I'm here. Hello, beautiful boys. Hello, Cubes. Stewart says, Jacob, do you think we could get Adama Traore from Hull? Does he wear the number 37? That's what I want to know. Does he fill out the sleeves of the number 37?
His biceps are so big you could put a shirt on each arm and like double the shirt sales.
You know what he says? He says that he doesn't lift weights, that it's all natural, that it's just genetics.
Bollocks.
That's what he says, bro. That's just what he said. I wish I had that. That's genetics, where I don't have to lift weights and I'm fucking jacked. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I hope we get Adama Traore. We can get him for like $5 million this window. His contract's about to be up. We can get him for free in the summer. So come on.
I've been saying I want to see him at Spurs as well, but not for the same reason you do. I just want to see what it looks like with Adama Traore and Emerson Royale on the right flank together. I just think.
I'm saying you put him at you put Adama Traore at right wing back. Can't be worse than what we got. He can get assists. He can get into the box. He can do it all. Adama Traore can play all 11 positions on the pitch. That's just how I feel. What answer did you pick? I'm gonna say
definitely the sunny one. Definitely the sunny one.
I'm gonna say don't care. Time for Spurs again.
That's the one I went with. I was tempted with the sunny one, but I would have gone for it more if it said it's always sunny in Philadelphia or something.
Ooh, I should have said that. See,
Well,
Kuba,
there
I
you
should
go.
have consulted you before I did this poll.
There we are.
That's what the mistake was. We'll learn from that. We'll clean it up and we'll be more prepared next week. Yeah. Did you understand the first one? The Kuti Kuti Kuti, can't you see the Biggie song? So I was trying to have fun with that one too. I couldn't really think of anything for Hugo, so I just called him Hugo, because he is the Hugo Warriors. No L's in his name, only dubs.
Yeah.
Big up Hugo. Honestly, that's what I think.
Everywhere Hugo.
Everywhere you go. This is officially now the Kuva United Spurs of America channel. He's going to sponsor all the polls from now on. We will consult him for all the whimsical plays on words that I can't think of. That was pretty. You just pulled that one out of right now.
You don't even need to call it a poll, do you? You could call it a Lewandowski if you want.
Yeah.
So I hope I'm right. I'm usually right when I picked for Cube. So
I don't think you are. I think it's the cutie.
Oh,
We'll
yeah, I see that there. Yeah. I was wrong again. I feel like there's too many good answers. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
What's up, Francois Parker's Emporium? That's a really cool name. Played my boys on FIFA tonight. We played as France and Argentina. France won on pens. Well, there it is.
That's the
Give them the
answer.
trophy now. Let's send them home. It is done. Now you'll need to play the 3rd and 4th place game, and then really send everyone home.
Yeah.
Alan Sibley, what up, says, I saw a report the other day saying that some clubs, including Liverpool, are sniffing around Bentancur. Is this true? Can this be?
He's got that would be an expensive buy for Liverpool, so I don't think that's happening. I mean, we've only just signed him, so that would be minimum 90 million euro, especially now that he's in form.
Having this discussion with Sava earlier about Bentancur, because he's saying he's not all that great. He's been good for us, but he's not that great. But I see him as one of those players that can fit in, and it's in some of the best teams in the world.
Yeah,
I think he's not going to control the game himself, but he just helps to make everything happen. He's quick at moving the ball around, and it just fits in, doing a Busquets sort of role.
Yeah,
I think he's the brain. I think he's telling people where to go. He's sort of the silent leader, telling people where to go, and then he's sort of
a conductor of sorts.
Quiet sort of role. Sava brought up Michael Carrick for us, who used to do that, and I'd have to say Michael Carrick I think was better, but
Michael Carrick,
same style.
Honestly, the way he's come to life on this team, my main critique about him last season was he seemed timid to shoot. He seemed afraid to take things on from distance. And then he also had just the one poor game, which was he had a hip injury versus Man United, or he was coming back from his hip injury, or he had just had it. I don't remember. Last season, he had a horrible game versus Man United at the end of last season when we had him. And that was when I was like, okay, he's been exposed slightly, but I was a little bit maybe it's just his hip. There is a human element when your fucking hip isn't feeling good. It's hard to open them things up and pass the ball left to right. It's a little harder. It's a little harder to run. Everything's a little stiffer, if you will. So I gave him a pass, and then really what I've seen from this season is the fact that he's not afraid to take a shot off from distance. He's scored a couple. So that's been welcoming to see. Seems like you guys said, he's kind of conducting out there. And it's beautiful to see, because it can't just be Højbjerg out there barking in his Danish voice what everyone needs to be doing.
There was a game early in the season, I've forgotten who it was against, might have been against Wolves, but you could see Conte was getting really angry with Bentancur, really yelling at him and waving him forward. And it felt to me like that was a turning point. It's like Bentancur got the bit between his teeth, and he's really trying to impress since then, getting forward so much more, shots from all over the place. And he's getting the goals now as well. It's a big deal. He's really suddenly taken up a gear, hasn't he? He's starting to impress now.
And when he's next to Basuma, he looks like 10 times. Because, again, it's that sort of one of the things we talked about on Sava's show. Well, I put it in the chat. Is someone like Romero needs someone calm next to him. I think Basuma is the destroyer, not the calm young player. And Bentancur is that calm player. I think if those two can get together, yeah.
Well, speaking of having people coming together, this is going to be a public cherry popping, if you will, in the most friendly and beautiful ways of sorts. We have none other than Danny Kiriakou joining us now. I'll give you a little round of applause. Big ups, buddy. Thanks for joining in.
How's everyone doing? Thanks for having me, Jacob.
Of course, man. Thank you for joining. Big ups for being here.
It's good
how
to
are you
be
doing,
here.
man? How you feel about the final?
Yeah, I'm good. With the final, I fucking do not want France to win at all. Fucking can't stand France. Cannot stand them one bit. I just don't like the French, to be honest with you.
Get in there.
I'll say it now.
10:45 in the wall.
Yeah. But look, they don't deserve to win it, if I'm honest. I think Argentina, out of the two, deserve to win it. I know France have got unbelievable talent, as well as, I know so does Argentina, but France have got a better team. But let's be honest, they didn't deserve to beat England. They didn't deserve to go through that tie. And it was just England's lack of finishing in that game that stopped them going through, and their composure in key moments. And yeah, they don't deserve it. So for me, there's only one person I want to see lift that trophy, and that's Lionel Messi. Do you know why I want to see him lift it? Because I cannot wait to see the fucking look on Cristiano Ronaldo's face once he lifts that trophy. It's going to be the most burning sensation he's ever going to experience. Seeing the guy that he's gone toe-to-toe with for the last 15 years, right? Winning that World Cup, that one thing that he always wanted, that is going to be the nail in the coffin for him. Because
Absolutely.
And the one thing about it is he can't do anything about it either.
Yeah.
That's going to be brilliant. Oh, I can't wait to see his speech or his what he says if Messi lifts that trophy. I cannot wait.
Well,
I really hope that he does.
It's like an extra one as well, because you got the Ballon d'Or wins, and it's like 7-5 to Messi.
Exactly.
And Ronaldo's not going to catch that now.
No, he's not.
What
Exactly.
Also, I wanted to ask, are they going to have like a live feed on him during the World Cup? Like, is he going to watch it somewhere and they're going to have a reaction cam on him? Because it can't be at Manchester that they're going to be doing that. Is it going to be at Real Madrid? Where are they going to do this little watch party for Ronaldo?
Oh, someone should have done that just to see
He's
his reaction.
training at Madrid at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. No, he has no home. Where's he going to go train? That's
He's training in Madrid, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe Piers Morgan has a backyard he can play in.
Danny Rose
probably
was
does.
training. Danny Rose, wasn't he training with us early in the season as well?
With the
It's
U21s,
nearly
I
the same
think.
thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Just but I struggle with the whole, like, do y'all really think this is Messi's last World Cup? Y'all don't think he could be back in 2026?
If he wins tomorrow, that it's done. He's retiring. He's going to go to Ronaldo's house. He's going to scream you to his face. He's going to have a laugh, drink some champagne. It's going to be hilarious. But
Do you think Messi will retire?
I think he will. He'll retire.
think so.
international.
He's coming to America.
Yeah, international definitely he'll
Retire from
retire.
international.
Yeah, I think Jake is right. I think he'll go. I think he still wants to play at the top level. I don't think he's gonna leave a top club like PSG anytime soon, unless the Barcelona option's there. Unless Barcelona decide to take him back. If they decide to take him back, then he might go back there. But I can't see him leaving PSG yet. And I think when he does leave, it's either going to be to Barcelona or he's going to go to America or Argentina.
Yeah. I do see him in those old boys at some point.
I could see him going to the MLS. I could see somebody. Big
There was
from
rumors
there.
that he already
Yeah.
signed a pre-contract with Inter Miami, which is David Beckham's club.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Mhm.
There is a
And
problem.
I could see. Sorry, Ben. I was just gonna say I could see Ronaldo going to MLS right now too.
Yeah.
Where else? I could see LA Galaxy picking him up. LAFC starting to pick up big players that are, Gareth Bale. I love him. Fantastic player, fantastic career. But You know where he's at in his career. He knows where he's at. He's playing for LAFC. I know LA Galaxy are going to try and I guarantee LA Galaxy has been sniffing around Ronaldo right now.
There is a problem with Messi going to Inter Miami. You can't imagine the greatest player of all time playing for Phil Neville with DeAndre Yedlin. That is not acceptable. That is a crime towards football. I do not want to see Phil Neville and DeAndre Yedlin anywhere nearly in Messi. Nowhere near. That is unacceptable. Ridiculous.
That's pretty funny. I guess I don't look at it that way. I'm just imagining, like, where do I think Messi would want to live in America? It's either got to be Miami or LA, in my opinion. David says he said hi to Sonny at the World Cup for me. If that is true, David, holy shit, you should have taken a picture and just hugged him and smelled him and bottled it up and sent it to me so I could smell it too. Hope you had a good. I guess you were in Qatar, so hope you had a good time. Said his face is still really swollen. Must be struggling to play with the mask. He was so nice to the fans. Was the only one signing autographs most days. And Cubes asked if he really did meet Sonny, and he says, yeah, I met him before, but got to see him a few times in Qatar. So nice, most homely player. Big up, David. That's quite the adventure, man. So I'm very happy for you. Alan Sibley's got a question for Danny, I believe.
Alan.
Patty's asking, hi, Danny, do you speak in caps to you?
Yeah, he does.
Only for Paddy.
And then Carl says, here's Danny the legend. That every time I log on to Twitter, I see him putting people in their place.
Oh, he is.
I guess the algorithm's the same for you, Carl, for me, because I get on Twitter too. Don't matter if it's on the podcast account or my personal account. I got Danny always quote tweeting someone. So you know what?
Stupid people on Twitter, honestly.
It's gone 9 p.m. now, so I think Danny's probably just about finished mopping up his breakfast.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Paddy is one of those stupid people.
Oh,
that's right, Paddy. You, mate.
Oh no,
love you really.
Patty, you're welcome to jump on the show.
I'd love Paddy on. It'd be funny.
David says yes, praying for an Argentina win.
Do you know what though? I actually got a funny feeling that the Argentinians are going to bottle it in the final. As much as I want them to win, I just got this weird feeling France going to do it.
It's a really strong French team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Forward-wise, anyway.
Yeah.
I think I've always, for years, I always think people have underestimated how good Giroud is.
Yeah.
It's always about Mbappe. Giroud's one that wins you big matches. He's done it all the way through his career.
Now they've got Giroud
thick
on
man in the box. Yeah.
Benzema is going to Benzema.
Giroud was crucial when Chelsea won their second Champions League under Tuchel.
Yeah, absolutely crucial.
He kept coming on as a sub and kept fucking scoring the most crucial goals. And that's how they got to the final. And
one of those people laughed at me when I said I wanted Giroud at times.
Oh, I would have taken him all day long.
He's a brilliant player. He's one of the most underrated players of the last 20 years.
And do you know what, Ben, as well? The thing is with Giroud is he's not someone who's happy to be like a rotational player. He just wants to do well for the team he's playing for. Obviously, he wants to play as much as he can, but at Chelsea, Arsenal, he was like a rotation player, wasn't he? He was never the first starter week in, week out.
He just knows that even if he comes off the bench, he's going to make an impact, and he'll get the love he wants from it.
Yeah, exactly that.
In regards to the final a little bit, I was thinking that a little bit what you were saying too, Danny, that we could be in for an upset here. Because if you look at the way France has won throughout this entire tournament, it's not necessarily a dominant victory. It's not necessarily the most pretty. You could argue versus England, did they deserve to win that? To me, it looked like England were putting it on them, but they just couldn't put the bottle cap on it to finalize the product. But France, there's something to be said about a team that can win good, that can win dominantly, and that can win poorly. When you can win in 3 different styles, you've got something special. And I think Argentina has struggled, but they've also won some dirty matchups. They've won some dominant matchups. I think this is going to be one hell of a final, personally. But I wouldn't be surprised if France does get that upset. I personally would like to see Romero win it, just me. because Hugo has won it. I would like our skipper to win it again. Either way this goes, I'm not going to be upset because a Tottenham player is lifting that trophy at the end of the day. And I think that's all I really wanted, either that or USA. That's it.
Yeah.
I think in a way the pressures are different, aren't they? Playing international football to club football. For
It's very
example, we're
different.
always having this recent conversation about playing style at Tottenham, how important it is. To someone like me, it's always majorly important. But when it comes to international football, that's all out the window. It's all about grabbing the win. That's all anybody cares about.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter at the end of the day what your sofa score says. If this final score says W or L, that's what you're looking at. Big ups our Spurs, our Ecuadorian brother. Hope you're doing well. Quite a fun performance out of Valencia, I might add. He was fun to watch.
I will say though, the French have something that Argentina don't have, and that's calmness of the mind. Even against Morocco, when Morocco were like pushing for a goal, France were like, they were so calm that nothing phases the French team. They all been there, done it, and they will not get rattled. If Argentina want to pull the shithousery, which is what Argentina usually do, they've been doing it brilliantly. They did it very well against the Netherlands. It won't affect the French team, and the French are not. The Dutch team was quite naive, and if you try and push the French team, they will mop you. They have got some units in that team. They're not PP players. They're a big, tall, strong unit of a team.
Well, that's what people have been saying is they've got the physical presence over the Argentinians.
Yeah.
So Argentina and they play very well technically as well. They're all technically gifted players. So Argentina have to technically outplay them if they want to beat France. It's the only way because they're not going to beat them physically.
We just saw Lionel Messi turn back the clock and turn over a guy who makes me froth at my mouth when I think about him in lily white. Because not just because he's wearing a mask like my beautiful father Sonny, but because I just think he's so young, so talented, and he's going to be top center back in the world for years to come. And Gvardiol, he got turned around. I will say he did his best, but at a certain point, when there's a player like Messi, the best just ain't going to be good enough sometimes. And I think I agree with everything. It's going to take a Messi masterclass again. And I feel like he's got it. I feel like Argentina, the players on that team want to win it for something more than themselves. We saw what Brazil played like when they were playing for something more than themselves. And I think that's a big factor when you go into these matches is, am I playing to win for my country? Yes. Am I playing to win for myself? Yes. Am I playing to help my friend, my teammate, my brother be the fucking GOAT? I think that's a huge factor. That's why it's hard to bet against Argentina right now, in my opinion, just because that's an X factor. You've got talent. Both teams got talent. Both teams got depth. Both teams got aggression, physicality, and technical ball skills. But what's going to be what pushes the other team over the edge? To me, it's got to be that X factor. Playing for something bigger than yourself is always going to push you to above and beyond what you normally would. Alan says, no way Benzema will play. Anyone here think Benzema will not play?
He might be flying. I'm not sure. He might not have flown, but there were rumours that he could possibly have done it. I mean, he is allowed to
Could it just be a smoke screen? Could it just be like a little flash grenade they're trying to throw into the locker room of Argentina and get in their heads a little bit?
I mean, either way, Giroud should start because he's been brilliant this tournament. Either way, he should start. But again, in the words of Kuba, if you're going to play a player that's not fit, you start him because if they break down, you can take them off.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And I mean, Benzema off the bench don't sound like a bad little thing either.
No, it doesn't.
Tricky one says.
I don't think they really have to worry though, do they? I mean, Giroud's isn't he France's leading scorer of all time?
Yeah, he broke Thierry Henry's record, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a graphic about
it's
that.
not like they have to worry about who's playing up front. I just think it's that balance in the French team that's what's going to see them through. You got the lightning pace of Mbappe and his dribbling abilities. You got the aerial dominance of Giroud. Just those two alone up front. Yeah. You got your hands full.
Someone needs to talk
and
about
Griezmann as well. Griezmann's had a brilliant tournament.
He was almost a defensive mid that last match. The way he was getting back and breaking up Morocco's play. I was very impressed with Griezmann. I've not seen that side of Griezmann before, if I'm honest. Anytime I've watched him, he does not look like a player that's trying to get back at all. But he was putting it all out there, I must say. That's what I'm saying. Both squads are deep. They're thick. And they got some talented players. It's just what's going to be the thing that really seals the deal for either side. Could it be Benzema coming off the bench for scoring a worldie? Maybe. Could it be Giroud putting in a world-class effort like he's done all tourney? Maybe. Or could it be Lionel Messi?
Yeah, do you know what, Jacob? I'd love to see Lionel Messi have the best game of the tournament.
That would be fun.
It would just be so fitting. If they could win the game and Lionel Messi is instrumental, because let's be honest, I think this is probably the best World Cup I've ever seen him in, because in other World Cups gone by, he's been quite disappointing. But this one, he's been the difference, I think, for them. And I think the big difference for them as well has been Julian Alvarez as well up front. I think he's been a massive difference.
Yeah.
He's such a good player, man. And to think that Man City have got two of the best young strikers in the world in their squad, and Alvarez is not even getting on the pitch as often as he'd like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And I think, I think them two, they need to be on top of their game if Argentina want to get through, because they can produce magic as well, both of those players.
If he's not doing well, they got Lautaro on the bloody bench. They got
God.
Lautaro.
But he's been a bit awful this tournament.
Yeah,
He's
he's not been able to hit the bright side of a barn door this tournament. It's been woeful. I've been Michael, the other half of the channel here. He loves Lautaro Martinez. I mean, he always gives major plaudits to the guy, and I'm just like, anytime I watch Inter, he doesn't do well. It's always number 9, Zeko or whatever his name is, that's shining for Inter. Since I've been watching, there was a summer where Kane was going to leave, and we were like, maybe we bring in Lautaro Martinez, and I was all for it. But now I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I'd rather just get a cheap little striker or something. But I'm a little, I don't want to see Lautaro necessary, because I think he's a little more suspect. Julian is, I mean, he's playing like what I was kind of alluding to earlier. Someone who's playing beyond themselves. This is a guy who's scored 6-7 goals for Sporting at one point. Was it Sporting or Boca? Who was he? I don't remember what club he came for before City signed him, but whatever club that was, I remember they signed him. So I was like, okay, I'm listening out for this guy. And then he didn't join him right away. He still played for the club he was at, and then he put up like 6 goals, and they won 7-0 or some shit. And I was like, who the hell's this guy? And it's quite interesting, because that goal, if you go back to his first goal that he got versus Croatia, if you go back to that first goal, that's not necessarily like top level skill, masterful ball handling. That is just a man on a mission with a little bit of luck and being in the right place continually with his head on straight. And he finished that goal. And that's a kind of player that I think is young enough to make that kind of difference. Whereas if you have like a old head, maybe like a Lautaro Martinez, who's a little bit more sure of himself, I don't think he makes that same goal that Julian Alvarez does. Just because I think he's trying to be more of a complete striker rather than just a fucking fox in the box running loose. You don't know where he's at, where he's going. And that unpredictability, I think, is what helps Alvarez's game so much.
Yeah.
And they don't have any time to figure him out, France. They've had barely any game film on this guy, so it's hard to really plan for someone when you don't have a ton of club footage when he's been with City, a ton of World Cup footage this season. So it's going to be an interesting match. It's got to be.
Yeah, I always feel with Lautaro, it's like he is there just to get the goals. In the rest of the build-up, not at all. Alvarez, I just think that's probably why City were happy to let Jesus go, because it's the same sort of player in that respect. He's got that all-round game. He's just involved in attacks. Whether he's scoring goals or not, he's still contributing. It's just a fantastic player. I think, as Danny said, the fact that they got Haaland and Alvarez in the same team, it's just sick.
You sign them in the same window.
It's actually sickening. It actually is and they paid 65 million for both of them. It's insane.
So Scott M has the antithesis, I think, of what you were saying, Danny. He says, I want to see Messi be awful just to see the crying and excuses that he would come up with. Such a little bitch.
It's Lloris's revenge for when he destroyed us at Wembley. And he's just so revenge, bitch.
I would love to see him lift that trophy, man. Just because then he would have literally won everything, including everything you can win for international level. Like he would have won both. Maradona, I know Maradona's special, but he didn't win the Copa America. He won the World Cup. But Messi, in terms of stats, numbers, Ballon d'Ors, like there's no comparison. Obviously, we know Maradona had his personal issues and battles with the demons that he had. And not to say he's not a genius, but I think if Messi can do what Maradona did, I think the Argentines, they would probably hold him in that regard as that level of GOAT status kind of in their own country, because he's won the pinnacle of football, which is the World Cup.
Yeah.
So if he wins that trophy, he is the greatest of all time. I think it's
for me. It will be, yeah.
Some people say it's not. It's Pele. Some people say, oh, it might be Eusebio or what. But for me, Messi's done everything. He's played in the best football team you've seen over the last 30 years, which was Pep Barcelona team, the most phenomenal team you've ever seen. That team changed football because now everyone wants to be that Barcelona team. Football changed because of that team. And for him to win that, firstly, it'd be really funny for Ronaldo fanboys to be crying at the side.
Oh, that's the best thing.
Especially Piers Morgan. If as soon as he wins that trophy, Piers Morgan will be on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's not the GOAT. Oh, he had a better team than." No, Ronaldo had a pretty decent team. It's just when Ronaldo's in a team, he's the black hole. Everything has to go towards him. But when Messi's in a team, it brings the team. He's the glue of the team, and that's the difference. Messi's the glue, whereas Ronaldo is the antithesis of me.
Yeah.
Ronaldo. The difference for me, Ronaldo is one of the greatest strikers of all time, one of the best goal scorers of all time. Messi's one of the greatest footballers of all time.
Yeah.
You could play him any sort of role. He's going to be absolutely genius.
I agree.
Ronaldo, for me, is not genius. He's brilliant. He's incredible. He's at the top of his game in every category. But Messi's got that little bit of magic about him that you never saw coming. There's something pure genius that captures your imagination, and you think about it for years afterwards. Ronaldo tends to have those big moments that you remember.
Yeah.
Messi creates the big moments from brilliance.
Yeah.
A highlight reel just on his dribbling skills alone.
Yeah. Agreed. Last time I can think of Ronaldo being completely dominant was versus us when he had a hat trick. But since then, I don't really know what he's done.
Well, it's not hard when you're playing against Eric Dyer, is it?
That actually will lead into my next topic before we end everything on this. I want to talk about who we got here on the panel, who y'all got as some realistic targets. Also want to talk about some wet dream signings. Obviously, they don't have to be realistic, just a position you really think you want a player at that you would drop the bag on, basically. Who are you going to drop 150 mil on? And then, Ben, I think I wanted to ask you real quick before we kick all that off. There was a little bit that you sent me about some Club World Cup news, some kind of new tournament in 2025.
So basically, FIFA have the Club World Cup is a thing. It happens every year. The winner of the Champions League, the winner of the Argentina, whatever the Champions League is over in South America, and other leagues, they're going to increase that tournament from 7 teams to 32 teams. So there's going to be 8 European teams and other maybe 2 the Champions League winner and the Europa League winner. It's a stupid idea, basically. I don't know what Cubes thinks about this. The Club World Cup it is that. There is too much football to be played at this moment in time, and everyone's been saying the footballers cannot deal with this pressure. So I don't know what everyone in the chat thinks, but this is going to be a thing. It's going to be in the yearly things. I don't know if it's going to be every year. It's going to be every 4 years probably, because it has to rotate with the Euros and the actual World Cup. I don't know if they're dumping the World Club Cup as it is. But it's a new tournament. They have announced that they're going to push ahead of it. 2025 is the first one, and we don't know where it's going to be, but it's probably going to be in some nation. I don't know, but it's FIFA.
Isn't the next one in Turkey or something? I thought I saw. I don't know. The next World Cup, Club World Cup, which is next in 2023, I think. So I think it's every 2 years.
But no, it's every year. It's every year. It usually happens in December around this time when we're playing Christmas football. The winner of the Champions League is usually off somewhere playing that tournament. And then we add that in. But it's going to be a new tournament, which I don't know what you think of it, Danny, but it's a terrible thing for football. It's basically the Super League. This is what the Super League is.
What, this Club World Cup thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another money-making scheme from FIFA, isn't it, really? That's all it is. Just,
do you really think anybody's going to give a shit about it? For the imagination, does it? Doesn't for me.
I mean, to players like Harry Kane, it might be, because he might feel he's got another shot of winning a trophy that he's not going to win.
He won't get in it, though, Danny.
Yeah.
With a title.
Yeah.
So you have to win to get
it's the reverse, isn't it? You have to win it to be in it with that.
Yeah. But I've got no idea how they're going to determine who's in it. I don't understand how it's going to work.
I don't understand either. I like I said, Ben sent it to me, and I was like, I don't know what this means. But if we're not winning the league, then it don't matter, I guess.
Yeah. Do you know how it works, Ben? How people?
All I know is it's 8 teams from Europe, so it's the top 8 leagues basically, probably due to coefficient, and then whatever the leagues are from other countries. So it'll probably be the winner of the MLS will be in it.
Let's go.
There'll be the winner of the MLS.
Let's go.
It'll be the winner of the Argentinian league, probably the winner of the Brazilian league. It'll be them.
Did they say the top 8 leagues, or it's just not confirmed what those?
There's 8 teams from Europe, and then the winner of the Champions League and the winner of the Europa League.
So basically, it's going to be words like coefficient are used, and then they just go and get the teams out that have the most following and the biggest potential revenue stream.
Yes, correct.
Manchester United, you finished 9th, so we're going to put you in it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen, Ben.
It's the Super League.
Yeah.
It's the Super League.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. So the first little ditty of business, y'all want to talk about unrealistic, or y'all want to talk about realistic first? I'll let y'all choose.
Both.
All right, let's start. Kuva, who's some realistic targets, and what positions are you looking to upgrade at the moment?
We're just talking about this on Savas earlier. I think we're both agreeing on centre-back targets. Go and get De Vrij and Ndicka before he's snapped up. Because we're looking at the likes of Skriniar, but I think you could get De Vrij and Ndicka for the same price. Get two of those centre-back positions covered. You've got youth and you've got experience there. I think even Romero will learn from De Vrij. He's been around a long time now. He's got a wealth of knowledge to impart to other players. That leaves you a lot of money to go and get those wing-back areas sorted out.
Yeah.
Hey, presto, you could have one transfer window where the defence is transformed. So I think, wing-back targets, we've got Udogie coming in. We were talking about Songo earlier and Mela. There's just so many about Montiel at Sevilla's great player as well. Just go and get some exciting talent in. Exciting attacking wing backs with a good engine, good bit of athleticism to go with it, and let's start playing some proper football.
Yeah,
couldn't say it better myself. Ben, who do you got? Anyone other than what Kuva has listed?
I'd love to. Actually, no. Let's put that in the unrealistic because we don't bloody sign anyone because I shit ownership. I'd love to see a proper centre half. Again, De Vrij is a great signing as well. Ndicka is a great player. For me, realistic is going for a wing back like a Singo or a Melee because they're not expensive, but there are so many good players around that we can get for not a lot of money, but we just don't go for them because they're not sort of fashionable names. We want the fashionable but unfashionable name at the same time. It's bizarre. But I'd love to see us get De Vrij. I think De Vrij is an improvement over who we've got at the moment. And he would be sort of a leader in the back that doesn't point at things and then get things wrong. He's sort of a good plan. But Tottenham won't go for those. We'll go for something stupid. We'll go for something stupid like, I don't know, a hairdresser or, I don't know, ice cream van, Barney the dinosaur, one of those.
Okay.
Right.
Danny, I saved you for last because I want to hear what you got to say on this topic.
Realistic, I think we can get Pascal Chimbonda. Maybe we'll, Gary Mabbott can come out of retirement as our centre back.
He's better than Dyer. I'd rather have Gary Mabbott. Put him centre back.
I think they'd wait until to see if we get Champions League football first.
Yeah, I think we could put a defibrillator in Ginola, and we'll bring him back as well. We'll get him back. I think he'd be a brilliant player.
That'd be a nice one.
Yeah,
you know who still got it?
Yeah,
Pirlo over there. I saw him take a free kick. We could use him.
I'll take Pirlo.
He's still got it. So
I'll take Pirlo over some of our players that we've got. But I think everyone knows we all need we need a centre back, and we need two, but we're not going to get two. We're going to get one centre back if we're lucky. I don't even think we're going to get a centre back this window. If I'm honest, I honestly don't think we will. I think this will probably happen by a new contract because our club's a joke. Who I would like, Zabrani from the Ukrainian defender, the 19-year-old.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good prospect. He's a really, really good player actually, and I think he could grow into the role. He's got everything a modern-day defender would want. He's not that expensive as well. He'd be under £30 million. That's who I'd take. I mean, I think now if you look at it, I would have loved to have seen Kim Min-jae now, the way he's playing at Napoli, but he ain't going anywhere. Not this window anyway.
Yeah, they won't. There's no way they let him.
Yeah, not in a title charge. I mean, he's perfect because he's 6'4", 6'3", something like that. He's big. He's good on the ball. Who else?
Big FC Sherman.
I would like to see, and I know it's not going to happen, but I would like to see Pedro Porro. I think he's been really good for Sporting, and he can cross a ball. He is very, very good. He's very direct. He's rapid, and he's quite aggressive actually. He kind of reminds me as an aggression, like in a type of similar player to like how Romero is. Like he's really aggressive. He's not a tall player, but he gets in people's faces, and he really I think he would be a good player, but I just don't see Spurs paying £40 million for him. And then on top of that, the news that Romano was saying was that Man City have got a 20 million buyback clause. So if Tottenham go for him, they'll probably just fucking activate it just to piss us off. And then they'll probably sell him to like another club for more money. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Man City decide to buy him back. They want another right back, and they could take him back. For 20 million, you're getting a top young Spanish right wing back who's really good in the ball. He'd probably fit a Pep Guardiola system, to be fair. But yeah, I think we need an attacker as well. I think I would love to see like a creative type of midfielder, but it's not going to happen this summer, this January anyway. I don't want to see Amrabat. I think we've got too many of those type of midfielders. Yeah. Bentancur has just been brilliant this season, and I do think with Bentancur, I think his game, like I know Conte was saying it not long ago that he could be a world-class player, and I agree. I do think though the way that Bentancur has been allowed to play further up the field, if you've noticed it, when he's done that more, it's when Basuma has come into the game in the second half, when he's moved the formation to a 3-5-2. Because when we've started in a 3-5-2, Bentancur they haven't really gelled properly yet. Like you can see glimpses of how well it could work if they can get if Bissouma can get the tactics right. But when he's come into the game and they've changed it during a game, and Bentancur's come in to help like shore up the defense, Bentancur just pushes forward, and it completely allows him freedom to kind of do what he does, and that's why he's been scoring more goals for us this season and being really crucial for us. I think he's a top midfielder. He's obviously, his ball coverage are unbelievable, and I think you don't need anyone right now in that midfield. Ideally, you'd want a creative player, but look, we're not going to do that. So, and I do think where we've lacked as well up until now is another forward, because you've seen when Kulu and Richarlison were both out because they're injury prone, Harry Kane has not had a rest, and towards the end of before the World Cup started, he looked completely dead, like completely drained. And we had no other option. We had Lucas Moura injured. So who did we have to bring on? We had no one. And I think we do need, I would say, like a right winger. I'd say we need someone on the right, and I don't really know who, to be honest with you. I know people have talked about Malinowski, but I think he'd be good, but I don't think he's the right player we need. I think we need someone who's a lot more direct, like a direct winger, a bit more like a pacey winger. I think we need.
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah, he would be unbelievable. But again, players like he'd be my dream signing for Spurs. I think him or Leao at AC Milan. Ooh, I love Leao. I think he's fucking unbelievable.
He's Portugal's best player, and they fucking let him ride on the bench. That's what they get for. That's what they fucking get. You let your best player just ride the bench till the 80th minute. That's your fault. Yeah, that's your fault. I love me some Leao.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I know people talked about De Vrij, but I'm not 100% sure on De Vrij. I was before, right? And the reason I say that is because he hasn't played as much as he's played last season. I think he's played like 12 games in total, and not all from starting as well. But for me, De Vrij is not like this amazing ball-playing midfield centre-back, right? And I think if we need someone who's going to go in that centre-back role, we need a big guy, someone who's really big, who's demanding. He commands his area, and he's a leader at the back. Like, he's got to be able to like speak. I know De Vrij is a little bit of a leader, but
a Maguire fan, huh?
Oh my god, don't. But do you know what? I'm not being funny yet. I'd take Maguire over Eric Dyer.
Yes,
I would. And I'll tell you why, right? Because Maguire in a back three, with Romero and a competent left centre back next to him, I think he'd do much better. Because Maguire, he's good on the ball, and he's a big guy. I know he's not the greatest, right? He's like Eric Dyer, like turns like a fridge. But in a back three, he's definitely much better than he is in a back two. And if you look at Eric Dyer's only really been covered. Yeah, I mean, Dyer's only been covered by his mistakes
because as a midfielder, crap as a striker.
Yeah, but look, Dyer's only been competent because people he's playing with are covering him, right? And this season he started to show his himself again, his normal self, his normal level, and he's making mistakes after game, and he's just terrible. He's not a top player, and I want him back on the bench where he belongs.
Yeah, I mean, Dyer only ever looks good when he's got nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, Kuva. And yeah, I think it's hard to say, right? The reason why I always say it's hard to say who we realistically can sign is because I'll be honest, we got no fucking clue who we're going to sign, right? No one knows, because what they seem to do at the moment with Spurs is we get linked with 1 million players, and then we sign one that we haven't really heard a lot about in the media, and we have to and it's going to be whoever we sign. I guarantee you, at first, it's not going to be a player who is going to really like make us think, "Wow, what a signing!" Right? It's going to be a type of player like maybe like where they sign like a Bentancur type player. Where I'm not saying Bentancur type in terms of his ability. I'm talking about someone who not many of us think, oh, he's going to be a really top player for us, but then he turns into a top player and he over exceeds expectations set on him by the club and the fans, right? And I think that's the type of player we're going to go for. It'll be someone who's unassuming and that we hope that he's going to be good. And the problem with that is that when that happens and if it doesn't work, then it looks like a shit signing. And that's why people argue, people have debates about players that we bring into this club, because what we want to see is a ready-made player, not someone who we hope turns into a good player. Because people also need to remember, and I speak to people on Twitter or whatever it is, on debates, on podcasts like this, and there's always debates about like Bentancur and Kulusevski. Not one of, apart maybe Kulusevski, right? But not, I'll tell you right now, not one single person, any Spurs fan out there would have said Kulu and Bentancur would be performing at the levels that they've been performing for us, right? No one expected them to perform this well. They've exceeded everyone's expectations, including the managers and including the club, right? Because they were brought in to help try and lift the club up a bit, like try and get them to a better position in the table. Yeah. But to finish in the top 4, what we did last season was by far superior in terms of what we actually achieved and what we were probably supposed to achieve, because we were never in a position to finish in top 4 like with the team that we had, and to do that we over exceeded our own expectations. And I think that's why there's a lot of fans this season who are like kind of going at Conte because of that, and because and I keep trying to tell people, Conte got top 4 with fucking Emerson Royale, right? And Matt Doherty, Ben Davis, and Eric Dyer and Ryan Sessegnon as his fucking defense. Are people trying to say that Conte is a bad manager? How the fuck can anyone get top 4 with those pieces of shit that we have in our team? Honestly, it's ridiculous, right? It blows my mind. And that's why I really hope whoever they bring in is someone who Conte wants to come into the club. Yeah. Because if he believes he can work with them and make them better than what they are, because let's be honest, he made everyone better than what they are last season to get into the top 4. And if he could do that with his own players, then I'll be happy to see who comes in, and I trust it more. But I just got a funny feeling that we're going to be very underwhelmed with the signings that we do make. And I do think we'll sign 2, but it's so hard to choose who we're going to bring in, because all the names we talk about, I guarantee you none of them are going to come in. None of them.
Which there's the counter argument to that is, because I know you're pretty passionate about that with Conte, is if we don't do any of these signings and yet Conte signs a new contract, it's he's said to everybody, then I'm okay with this. Yeah. If he does that, where do we go then?
If he does that, then the Kuva, I'll be honest with you, mate, we're fucked.
Yeah. Well, good old Spurs always comes back to bite you in the end.
What's the quote, Kuva? Always as either every meal is a banquet, every hunger is a famine.
Absolutely.
And Kuva, it's like Conte would have he would have been given the Spurs curse, isn't it? Really, like that's how I'd probably see it. If Conte feels that if he signs a contract and he feels those players are good enough, then you have to look at him really, because it's like you've got to be on fucking some A-class drugs to believe that those players are good enough to win trophies for what you want to achieve in the game. And I'll be honest with you, Kuva, and everyone who's watching or whatever, I think Conte knows exactly how good those players are and exactly how bad those players are. And I think if it's up to him, he'd get rid of half that team. Yeah. But we have to understand, he understands how Daniel Levy works, and he's trying to get Daniel Levy to change, to make him believe that you give me what I want, you'll get a lot more in return in terms of the money generated from the Champions League, being in the Champions League again, being able to compete at a higher level, and maybe have a chance of actually doing what Conte wants, which is to win a trophy. But he can't go out there and kind of like tell his players, oh yeah, you're shit, you shouldn't be playing for Spurs, because he's got to work with them, because he's got to make them perform to try and show Daniel Levy that is the maximum level they can achieve, right? And we need better, which is what he's been saying all the time. In the last 6 months, he's been saying we need better quality, we need more depth, we're struggling, these injuries have cost us, we need ready-made players. He said it himself in conferences, his own words from his mouth. So he is pretty much telling everyone that we need better quality, right?
He's
It's
also
not
said
hard to
3
see.
windows though, so I feel like there needs to be some patience on the fan side.
Yeah, 100%.
When because like you said, he's been very direct, which is something that has been refreshing. It has been sought after because I hate the whole bureaucratic political bullshit where they dance around answers. That drives me fucking crazy. But with Conte, he'll be like, yeah, I told Daniel Levy his breast stank, so I gave him some mints. He don't give a shit. And that's what I like about him. Aside from
you
his...
say that, but I think he started off that way, and it's like he got told off for it. Is a lot of his press releases now are very toned down and like run through the PR.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that.
He's even started using the ultimate catchphrase for the ENIC thing, which is to be competitive.
Yes, that's the ultimate catchphrase. I agree. Yeah, it is.
See, those are red flags. I'm gonna try and look beyond those and look at like what Danny was saying. He said 3 windows. I need a new team to be competitive with the top teams in Europe and in this league. Point blank, simple. And I think that when he said that, the summer was 1 window. So my patience will hold on for at least January and the next summer window. But if after the next summer we're not sitting pretty with some of these big boy names that we're talking about, hell, 1 or 2 wet dream signings, because Conte's going to need that. That's when I'm going to start getting real pissed off.
I agree, Jacob. It could go tits up, right, in the summer. By the end of the summer window, if Conte is not happy with the squad, he could walk out. And if he walks out, we're in a fucking shitstorm. If he was to walk out in the summer after the transfer window, because then you've gone and got some of the players that he wants, but not all of them, or haven't addressed all the areas we need to address. And then you're looking at, you've got to completely change your vision because you're going to bring in a completely different manager who's got different ideas. So, and then obviously then you question, should Paratici still be in a job? So it's a huge thing what Spurs have to do. They have to really, it's up to Spurs, right? Whatever happens, it's up to Spurs. All Spurs have to do is they have to be on the same line, the same wavelength of what Conte wants to do with this club. And if they're on the same wavelength as him, then we'll have no problem. He'll sign a new contract. We'll start getting rid of some more players in the January window, and then again in the summer. And then hopefully we can bring in a couple of 1 or 2 more like top class players in the summer, and then we can push on again. But we've got to use these next 2 windows. I think I've been saying to a lot of people that this January is going to be the biggest indication of what the club feel about Antonio Conte, right?
Danny, so if they've got to be on the same wavelength, do you think Conte and Paratici will be on the same wavelength then?
Conte and Paratici, yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
no problem. I can go with that.
Yeah.
Do you think Conte and Levy are going to be on the same wavelength?
Third guy. That's the problem.
We're fucked, aren't we?
Yeah. I don't think so, Kuba. I mean, the stuff that I've heard already, I've told some people already before that what was it, about a month ago, just before the World Cup started, there was murmurs that they've already started. Like, put it this way, right? And I know Paddy, I've spoken to Paddy about this on Twitter, right? Most people at the club love Conte and the work that he's done, right? They love what he's done with the club, and they can see how good what he's done with the players he's got, right? And most people on the board actually love Conte, but Daniel Levy has his reservations, right? Because of the volatility of him, and also because of some of the players that Conte wanted in the summer. Now, the 2 names that I heard, right, were that he wanted Bonucci and Ashley Young. Now, I can agree with the club not wanting to go with Daniel Levy. Apparently, now this is what I've heard. Apparently, he does want to back Conte, but he wants to also have Conte, get players that are based with the philosophy of the club, right? Which is basically not to bring in. They want to have a balance. They don't want to have a squad full of. Well, this is the thing, right? They don't want to have a squad full of old players or experienced players, right? They don't want to have like 37-year-old Ashley Youngs and 35-year-old Bonucci's and 33-year-old Perisic's as our team. They want to have 1 or 2 of them, and they want to have young players around. They want to have a balance, right? But obviously, Daniel Levy's idea is bringing young players who we can sell on for a fee, who are good youngsters, but obviously they come at a premium price, the best youngsters. So it's trying to find those right ones who, for not so much of a premium fee. And that's always been the problem with Spurs, because they don't go and buy the best youngsters. They go and buy the players who you hope to get better, right? And that's the problem, because Conte doesn't want a player who hopes to get better. He wants a player who can go into the team right now, right? And it's the same as what Alistair Gold was saying about apparently how Conte wants the youngsters more. He wants the new infrastructure set up at Spurs to focus on getting players ready to the level so they can go straight into the first team, not players that he has to like bring in every one of game for a cup game and see how he does. He wants the quality of the recruitment in terms of, and the way that they're coached in the academy, in our youth levels, to be better in order for him to have better options to choose from our youth academy, right? Because let's be honest, our youth academy is one of the worst in the league. It's fucking disgraceful. It is so bad.
And we let Markandé go. That dude was fucking talented.
Well, we've let a lot
Anthony
of good
Edwards, or what was his
go.
name? Marcus Edwards.
Marcus Edwards, I understand. He's Dele Alli mark.
Madueke
is another one. He's a very good player, but
I would love if we had him to back up.
He would be
whoever
perfect.
on the right. That would be.
He'd be perfect for a youngster, and he'd be English as well. So he would have been a good option to have. But again, it's the way this club has been run. So
trouble is, even if we do get somebody come through, the likelihood of them being given a run in the first team slim.
It's not good. Kuva, it won't happen, because Conte, he wants players that are ready. He doesn't want players, right? And I'm not talking about 35. I'm talking about even if they're a 20-year-old, they have to be ready to go into that team.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's what he wants. He's not.
There's the occasional one where they've got an exceptional temperament and he's.
Oh, look, yeah, of course. Look at Kuba. Look at when he was at Inter Milan. He took a 19-year-old Bastoni, put him straight into the team because he was ready, because he believed he was good enough, and he made Bastoni the player he was. Look at Barella. He picked up Barella from another club, right? And he put Barella in the team at 21 years old or 20 years old. Or it was really young he put him in, but he put him in because he knew how good he was, right? And he just got better and better. Barella is one of the best players in his position in the world, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and this is the thing, like if you get a young player who's 19 or 20 or 21, it doesn't matter your age. If you're good enough, you can play in that team, and that's what Conte wants. And that's the problem that they have, and that's where, Kubo, we have this argument of are they gonna go and sign players that are young, that are ready to go into the first team? And I don't think they will, because to get those type of players, you need to spend big money. Gavardio, he's a 20-year-old, but he's ready to go and play top level football, right? Yeah. But he's going to cost you 80 million pounds, right?
100.
Yeah, maybe more. Yeah, maybe more, right?
Kavica's 21, isn't he?
Yeah, Kvaratskhelia, whatever his name is, right? His fucking level right now is probably, you're looking at 40-50 million pounds. Kim Min-jae, I know he's not young, but he's young enough. He could go straight into our team right now, and it'd cost now 40-50 million pounds. So Spurs have to get it right, and that's the biggest problem, is that we don't take the gamble on quality youngsters, and we try and get players now who are either players that we can get who we pay over a long period of time, or a loan with an option to buy, or a player who's in the last year of his contract, so that's who we're looking at. That's the market we're looking at, and that's why it's so difficult to improve our squad. Like Bentancur, the club Juventus didn't want him. Juve didn't want him, right? Kulu didn't fit the Allegri system, right? So they got rid of him, right? And I bet you they fucking regret that now, because Kulusevski's a fucking unbelievable player, right? And this is the problem with us, and I think I do think this January is going to be very, very telling to us, to see what Conte feels about this club, and to see what Daniel Levy feels about this club. Because if Daniel Levy gives a shit about Conte, he's going to go and get some good players, or the best he can get for Conte, that improves key areas we need to strengthen in. Because I think Conte's not stupid. He knows we need to strengthen in certain areas. And the stuff we've heard is, if we go and get a forward, right, and a right wing back, I'd be happy, because we've strengthened two positions we really need to strengthen. And I know we need to strengthen a centre back. But look, this is Tottenham. We're not Chelsea. We're not Man City. We're not going to go and spend that money because we know our board and our owners are fucking cunts, really, if we're honest. So yeah. Sorry for the language, but that's true. That's what they are, right?
Monetized.
Oh, we weren't monetized anyway. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube can't shut me down.
I don't know. What do you feel about this all, Jacob? Like, what do you feel about January and like realistic signings and all this kind of stuff? I want to hear what you guys think.
I think that, realistic signings, I see both sides of the coin here. It's realistically to expect our club to not do shit, maybe sign some random dude I've never heard of. But at the same time, we did that last season, and I was pleased with the results. I'm still being pleased with the results of Kulusevski and Bentancur. So for me, it wouldn't be the worst if they signed some player I never heard of. I can name 20 players that I would like to sign that I think would be realistic. When I think about center back, there's a dude who plays for Wolfsburg, very tall, 6'4", 6'5", Mickey van de Ven or Vander something. He's a young left-footed defender. He's very tall, good in the air. That's a cheap option. You could probably get him for 10, 12 mil. And he would be
Milinkovic from Fiorentina. I don't know if he signed the deal, but he's fantastic as well. He wasn't great. Well, Serbia weren't great at the World Cup, but Milinkovic is a quality player.
Milinkovic Savic, right? And see, that's the thing is there's these players that, like you were saying, we can name them all, and we'll sign Joe Schmo from Bellingham and Buckingham, whatever. I almost said Bellingham, but you know what I'm trying to say is we'll just pick some dude out of nowhere and we'll see if he works, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe I hope it's nothing like an Emerson Royale signing or a Doherty signing, or one of those panic buys where you're just trying to fill in a slot. But if we're looking at realistic signings, I could see Pedro Porro going. He dominated us when we played Sporting each game. I think he's a talented. You could get him decently priced, and he'd immediately start. And that's kind of what I want to see. Brilliant. We need more signings that are immediate impacts to the 11, not this guy who may work out. The guy named Mickey van der Veen or whatever, he may not work out. That's one of those Spurs signings I think is realistic. We go sign a guy cheap based on what he might become. And I think that's what I want to stay away from. But realistically, it's hard to look away from things like that. So I like to look at young cats and see, that Xavi Simons, he got his first caps for the Netherlands, his first World Cup. He's not big, but he's strong. He's creative with the ball. He can play as that central attacking midfielder. I think he's a realistic signing that's cheap, that's not going to be breaking, not going to make Daniel Levy sweat out his underwear. So those are realistic signings. But again, I just think that I can't get away from, you sign Hakimi right now, 150 mil. I don't care. Build a cinema for PSG that they can come and work out and watch movies and eat popcorn together and have fine dining. Build them that shit. Give us Hakimi. You need world-class players right now that are going to make instant impacts. You give me Hakimi, you give me Skriniar, you give me De Vrij. I'm good. I feel like that is complete. Like Kuva kind of said earlier, in one window in this January, we can completely transform our defense, which is our weakest spot. Eric Dyer is a liability. Ben Davies a major liability. Emerson is the biggest liability. No insurance will cover him. Apparently, insurances will not cover his car, will not cover anything he owns because he's just a fucking liability. So this, I just think that we have such crucial talent right now in their prime. Son, Kane, Lloris, Romero, you could argue is coming into that. Bentancur is starting to show that. Hojbjerg, I think we're seeing as good as Hojbjerg can get. 2-3 years from now, he's not going to be the same player. So these are all players 2-3 years from now, they're not going to be the same. We need to capitalize right the fuck now. Conte's not going to be here forever. Kane's not going to be here forever. All these players are not going to be here forever. We got to do something now. You strike while the iron's hot. Get yourself a fucking Hakimi. Now whether he comes or not is another issue. But if you don't get him, there's plenty of other right wing backs who could do the job that we need. And again, I asked for a top 8 right wing back in the world and one top 10 center back and one top 25 center back. You give me that in January and I'm happy. I don't care what their fucking name is. Just give me someone who can cross the ball into the box or play defense with their hands not behind their back and like they're doing a pirouette, like they're ballerina dancing with fucking Ronaldo getting turned around, and put a fucking tutu on him and let's start doing ballet, because Eric Dyer's going to be real good at that with his little tippy toes. I just think we have to do something now. And Conte said 3 windows. That was in the summer. The summer was 1. This January is number 2. You got to start doing some business. This can't be we're only going to sign a random no name who could be good, who might be good. You got to go and you got to do it now. You're running out of time. Conte's running out of time. These prime players are getting out of it. So it's fucking time.
Yeah.
After the summer window, if we have not made significant jumps, I could see Conte leaving because he has not been fully backed. But if we go out and we sign a Hakimi, he rates Hakimi. He played with him, he didn't play with him. He managed him. De Vrij managed. Bastoni even. I actually kind of don't want Bastoni anymore because he said no to us. And to me, that's, you say no to me, all right, I ain't never calling your line again. I don't care how good you are.
What Bastoni has done there is Inter have a very aggressive ultras fan base. He does not want to upset them. So what Bastoni has done is said, I don't want to leave. I'm an Inter fan. But the club wants to get rid of me because, as we know, Inter, with their ownership, are on their arses. They are desperate for every little pound, penny, cent, dime they can get. They have positioned themselves very, very well. Bastoni doesn't want to leave because he's an Inter Milan fan, but Inter wants to push him out the door. Same thing with Lautaro Martinez. He will never, especially can't go now because I went to his restaurant. He owns a restaurant in Milan, and there are very, very specific rules about owning property in Milan. If you don't live in Milan, you can't own property in Milan. So it's the reason he can't go now. It's a very good restaurant, by the way. You should go there. Good coffee offering. But it's the same thing.
Just have to get the coffee in.
The club wants rid of the top players so they need to make money because they're on their arses. That's why Bastoni has come out and said, I don't want to leave, but the club wants rid of me. It's for the ultras. Because the ultras hate Lukaku for what he did. He doesn't want that situation.
The thing is, for me, Jacob, I agree with everything you said. Now is the time you strike when the iron's hot. If you got Conte and you bring in world-class players now. But that's not what we're going to do, is it? I don't think anybody really believes that. I think what do we always do? Well, the thing is, what is our plan? What has it always been under ENIC? It's just coast along, isn't it? It's try and do the cheap version of doing anything to get top 4.
Rather than fix the leak, they'd rather just patch it up and keep running. It's the same old story.
I'm getting more and more sort of vociferous about it every time I go on air now. But the plan, I want to see this club have a plan. Plan not just for next season, but for 15, 20 years, 25 years in the future. I want to see a set style of play that's associated with our club, proper identity. This one they're talking about DNA. It used to be 2-touch passing, attacking football at this club. That's what we were world renowned for it. We brought in the sort of the push and run tactics from back in the 50s by winning the league, made it popular in this country. Had the Super Spurs playing some best football in the world back in the 60s. We were known for this stuff. It's time we got that sort of reputation back. Now, the trouble is with this chairman, there is no future plan. We chop and change direction every couple of years. Nobody can know what sort of manager we're going to get next. Nobody can predict it. Could be anything. Could be a foreign, tick-and-tacker player manager. Could be a sort of British man motivator type manager. Could be anything. We could be playing any style of football, any sort of signings coming in. Nobody knows. Now, if we do get a plan in place, as far as I'm concerned, there's 3 logical ways of doing this. One is the really painful one that people won't want to hear, and that's you go with you building your academy up and you have a really long-term plan, like 10 years, saying we're going to get the best academy in the world, and the fruits of all this labour will come in many years' time, where you see players constantly coming through on a conveyor belt of talent. That's going to take a long time to put up with. I don't think a lot of our fans will be that patient. Second way, you have a look at what the Gooners have done. As much as we hate them, they certainly had a plan. They stuck to it, and it's starting to pay dividends. And that's buying at high price, relatively young players. I mean, the likes of even Ben White, we're scoffing at the 50 million they paid for him. But him this season, if anybody's been watching him, he's been having a blinder. Yeah. Absolute blinder.
At right back as well. Left footed, left centre back.
Right back stroke central midfield, isn't it? The way they're playing him. It's doing amazing. So we could go that route, but that's going to take a bit of money and it's going to take a bit of time. Would our fans be patient for that? Doubt that as well. Which leaves option 3. We've got Conte right now. Going to have to spend a very, very big amount of money to overhaul this squad. And it's going to be done right now. Because if it takes 5 years to overhaul this squad, Kane's not going to be playing anymore. Sonny's not going to be playing anymore. Yeah. Hugo's retired. You're constantly adding big name players that won't be playing anymore to add to that pool you're trying to replace. And that is not going to happen from Enoch. They are not going to spend on that scale. You just look at the last transfer window, that big cash influx of 150 million. We didn't even spend 50 million of it. Didn't draw it out. There's no intent to do this. No. So we're this club that doesn't do one direction or the other. It's we don't really invest in the youth. We don't buy in the young players and then give them a chance to flourish because we haven't got the patience for it. And we don't spend big on the great players. So with this constant limbo.
Watch Die Hard at the new cinema coming to Tottenham High Road.
Yeah, you get to watch movies and everying. Kuba, come on.
I agree, Kuba. It's like that. It's that point. And I know Paddy was saying it earlier. Like he was saying, the key thing is Conte signing a contract. But he said, "Would you back a manager knowing that he will be walking?" That's this comment. This is the big problem that I have with this board. Is because they say they want to back Conte, or of the stuff that I've heard. I don't know what Paddy's heard. Levy wants to back him, but he's not fully giving him the reins to do what he wants. And yet, to an degree, there's some element that I agree with what the club are suggesting in terms of not signing like a 37-year-old Ashley Young, because I think that'd be a fucking mistake. But you have to, if you're going to sign young players, then go and get the top young players in those positions that Conte can work with that are ready to go into this first team. But like Kuva said, are they going to do that? And I don't know. I don't think they will. They're always going to try and get the players on the cheaper version of them, and hope that they become those top players or reach their potential that they could reach, rather than getting like a top youngster and paying like 60-70 million pounds for him, who you've got an idea that he's so good against top teams that he can fit into a team easily. Like Kuva said, there are players out there like in Ndika. He's got 6 months left on his contract. Why not go and just get him now? Why not go and get him right? He's going to be an upgrade on what you've got, and he's not going to cost a lot of money. And if he doesn't do well in the first 6 months, you can always go in for another player in another left centre back.
And Arsenal are linked with him, though. You know, there was reports about he's pre-contract with them on a free. The trouble is, we shake our heads and we're thinking, "God, what an opportunity missed!" But you can see it coming a mile off. That is their plan. That's what they're doing. Get the young talent in and give them a chance.
But also, Kuva, Arsenal are building a squad of young top talent, right?
Yeah.
Because if they grow together with what they've already been building the last 3 years, you're seeing what they're doing now, and they're only going to get stronger, because Arsenal's biggest problem right now is their depth, right? And if they go and get players like Ndika to add to already what they've got, they're going to have stronger and stronger depth. So their B team they field could play most Premier League teams, and it wouldn't be a problem. So their level of their drop off in level won't be big. Whereas like ours is, we all know if Harry Kane comes out the team or Bentancur comes out, we're fucking useless. We can't do shit, right? Because we ain't got wing backs who are competent. Perisic is competent to an extent in terms of an attacking sense, but again, what we've seen of Perisic in the Premier League is he's not as clinical in terms of his finishing in the final third, but he's still the top assister in the league, right, from a wing back. So he's doing something right. But then you go on the other side and you've got a fucking player who shouldn't even be playing professional football, and that's where we talk about balance, right? You can't be a good team if you don't have balance, and you need someone who's competent enough to make a fucking decent cross into the box and actually give a chance to our attacking players. And again, like I said, Kulu, Richarlison, and Lucas Moura have all been injured. We had no options. Only Brian Hill fit, and he didn't even play. Didn't even play when he was fit, right? Because that's the problem. And I think in the summer we're going to see Lucas Moura go. We might even see him go in January, right? And if he goes, they've got to bring in someone who's far better than him. Like I'd love to see someone like Cody Gakpo. I think he's been brilliant for the Netherlands in the World Cup and even before that. But I know that he's not going to come to Spurs because they're not going to pay the money for him. He's going to go to Man United, right? Or someone like that. They wanted him in the summer, and I reckon he'll probably go in January. But yeah,
there's other things that will hamper us as well because of our transfer practice over the years, and we've had evidence of this. If we'll compare it to, it's got to compare to those noisy lot down the road because
definitely
because we're clubs of similar sort of size. We should be doing similar sort of things in terms of transfer market and ambitions. Now, if they carry on the current trajectory and say the likes of, I'll take any player, Martinelli, Saka, someone like that, suddenly really comes on leaps and bounds, suddenly elevates himself into that sort of Gareth Bale type world superstar thing, they can sell him on. Because if they sell him on for, say, 150 million, what are they going to do with the money?
Yeah,
they'll go and spend 50 million on 3 quality young players, bring them in and carry on going. Now, if we do something like that with, say, Harry Kane or Sonny, sell them on for 100 million, what are we going to do with that money?
Nothing.
We'll end up buying 4 players that are just shit and
another cinema.
We'll end up with another Doherty. We'll end up with a exciting young prospect from France who never kicks a ball for us.
And Adama on a free.
And all the money's gone. Yeah.
Do you know what, Jacob? I honestly believe if he doesn't sign a contract with Wolves, we're going to get him in the summer on a free transfer. I honestly believe that. That's how pathetic he is. I know you love him, Jacob. But
I love him to death. I love him so much.
Oh my God.
Y'all, it has been a fantastic Friday show. I'm so blessed and thankful to have you 3 join me. Just want to say thank you, first off, from the bottom of my heart. And I have a great question here from Bob Spur that I want you to answer, and then also tell me where people can find you and when you're live next. So this question from Bob Spur says, do you guys think Kane is going to be affected at all? Obviously, he missed the penalty, the second penalty. He made the first one, then he skied the second one. Reports were it took about 35 minutes for that flying object to reach the ground again.
That's what knocked me over him.
That's why Ben's ankles messed up. He fell because he got tapped in the head. So it took a little bit to come down. But Kuva, where can people find you? When are you on next? And do you think Kane is going to be affected at all?
I will be on In the Wall tomorrow evening.
In the Wall. On Bob Spur's very channel.
Yeah, and then on Sunday nights on Bobby K and I will be doing next episode of Coov and the Kang on 3 Spurs Boys. Trying to still calm it down from what happened the other week, which was disgraceful.
With Barry?
It sort of turned into a little bit of In the Wall became the light version.
No.
Right, anyway, but other than that, answering the question, will Harry Kane be affected? Yes. But I think he's going to be affected in a positive way. I think he's going to come out fighting, proving the point that he's still the business. He's still the daddy in this league. He's going to bang in 25 more league goals this season.
Talk to me.
Lift the FA Cup league title.
Talk to me.
And win the Champions League. Treble's still on.
The treble is on, Kuva. Come on.
Right. I think it's all about this. Get rid of this bullshit World Cup that nobody gives a damn about. I don't care if they pretend they do. It's all about the Spurs. Let's get back to Spurs playing, smash some goals in. Kulusevski's back. We'll be creating loads of chances. It doesn't matter how bad the defense is now. We're just going to win every game 7-6 and 9-4 and fucking take them trophies home. All 3 of them. Open top bus.
Fill up the cabinet.
Polish that trophy cabinet. It's coming home.
Beautiful. I love it. Tomorrow, In the Wall, Bob Spur TV, 10:45 UK time, I believe.
Yeah.
You'll want to be there. The thing is I get ready for some of Bob Spurs shows on Saturday, and then they just don't happen. And so I'm like, is there a show today or what's going on? But I'll be looking forward to that tomorrow on Bob Spurs TV. Ben, what about you, buddy? Do you think Kane's going to be affected at all by the lack of his conversion on the second penalty? And where can people find you? Actually, I'm going to put your channel in the chat so people can find you a little better.
So yes, you can find us at the Coffee Company for your Monday through Thursday chill sessions in the afternoon or in the morning if you're in the United States or Canada. It's just where we go to have a nice time. We've had a couple of days off due to my idiotic fall the other day, but we've got a great Christmas coffee which you can still get. It's absolutely delicious. You should buy it. You should buy it. You should buy it. Danny knows how good it is. Danny should buy it as well. But we will also be on In the Wall tomorrow, and also we are now part of the Tottenham on Tour 4 with Mr. Kiriakou, so you can find us usually on a Thursday on Tottenham on Tour for Ask Us Anything. We didn't do it this week because I fell over. Brian had to do other things. Ireland is doing something else.
And Danny wouldn't have made it anyway.
Danny's late, all that stuff. But you can find us in all those places. And no, I don't think Harry Kane's going to be affected by it. I think he's going to come back stronger. He's going to prove people wrong like he has done his entire career. He went from being a one-season wonder to a two-season wonder to he only scores tap-ins, he only does this, he's limited. He's one of the greatest players to ever play for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and subsequently in the league. So he's going to prove people wrong again.
Let's go.
Right, trebles on.
Trebles on.
Let's get
Come on. Get in.
He's literally already a legend in the Premier League and with his club.
Yeah.
I mean, can it get any? It can get better. I was about to say, can it get any better? It can. We can lift some trophies with that man. I hope. Hey, treble's on. I'm not gonna say I hope. Treble's on, baby. Danny, thank you for your first time on the show. Big ups for that. Always love popping a cherry when we can do that. Here is Danny's channel with Tottenham on Tour, part of the Coffee on Tour, the whole on tour brand. When can people find you next? And the question, let me pull that back up. Do you think Kane is going to be affected at all?
I think he will be affected for a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be in a bad way. I kind of, when Kuva was saying how I think he feels he's going to be affected in a positive way, I kind of sway more towards that, but it depends, because I think once maybe not for the first game, he might not be like his full raring to go, but it might get back into Tottenham training with his Tottenham lads, Sonny there, Bentancur there again, Romero after, and maybe not Lloris. He might want to punch Lloris in the face, but I mean, yeah, I mean, look, I think eventually he's going to be back to his best. I love you, Paddy, I do, but you're deluded. You are deluded, my friend. Yeah, I think, look, I would love to see Kane respond in the most positive way, and like Kuva said, go out there and be like, fuck this, I'm Harry Kane, and just absolutely obliterate the rest of the season. And I kind of hope that Sonny does as well, because he hasn't been firing for the first half, and I really hope that we see the Sonny of last season in the second half, because we want to finish as high as we can, or have any chance of doing anything in the Champions League or going far in the FA Cup. Then we need all our players fit and firing, really. So yeah, I think it won't be too much of a problem. I think Harry Kane he knows how to deal with heartache a lot, because he's had to deal with heartache a lot with Spurs, especially in bigger games, you would say. I mean, Champions League final, Euros final. We're talking about like two of the biggest finals in football. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine, and he's got Conte there as well to kind of put his arm around him. So I think he'll be fine.
It's a lovely thought. Have Conte putting his arm around you.
Yeah,
I'm a little taller than he is, but he can still get that arm around my waist or something. Come on.
I have to get on your knees, Jacob.
I want to give him a piggyback ride really badly. I don't know why. I feel like if I put him on my shoulders at a concert, he'd have a really good time. So big up Antonio Conte. If you watch this, my DMs are always open. He liked my comment one time when we first hired him. After his first training session, he posted a photo on Instagram, and I said, "Come on, coach, COYS," and he liked it. So since then, we've been best friends. Haven't spoken to him since, but we've been best friends since.
He's been blanking you a bit. He's been a bit busy with.
No news is good news, isn't it?
No,
I
think he's having a lot of conversation with Levy. That's probably why he's taking up a lot of his time.
Yeah, his phone app is too busy with the Mr. Levy, and you know what? He'll come back whenever he's good and ready. Either way, he knows where he lands with my heart. I love him very much.
He's busy forcing Levy to get him Adama Traore. That's what it is.
He's like, we can get him for $5 million right now. Champions League push. He can help. I mean, I know he's cup tied with the Carabao, but we're out of the Carabao.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're fine. We're fine. But anyway, boys, I want to say thank you to you three so much. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry, just quickly. If we're not signing Adama Traore, and you could make that happen with $500 of your own money, would you do it?
Yeah, my wife would divorce me, but I'd do it. My wife would definitely say, "You spending $500 on what?"
Come on,
I'd do it though. I would just, and then I'd drop another 100 on the jersey just so I could have the Adama jersey. It would be quite some time. That would make my year. Every transfer window we get linked with him, and I get excited. So I'm ready for another heartbreak.
Adama Traore jersey though. That's going to be like
Could you
9.
be? But Cuba, you know what? He could be one of the 2 signings that we signed.
Ooh.
It could be.
I do want to see the first 2 though. We got to get a right wing back and a center back, then Adama. I'll accept it then. But anyway, boys, thank you so much for joining me on another Friday show. United Spurs of America. Michael sends his love, sends his regards. He will be back next week. We will be back next week. Unless there's some kind of crazy news that break in between them. But if not, Kuva, thank you so much for joining me today. Always a pleasure to have you on. Ben, always a pleasure. Enjoy everything you got to say. And Danny, again, thank you for joining on the first time.
Pleasure.
I always say late is better than never. I married into a Greek family, so I understand Greek timing. As you can see, I got the Greek flag behind me.
It's good to drop the C-bomb on a debut as well.
That's always fun. I've said just as much bad. Maybe not the see you next Tuesday, but I've said my fair share. And we're not monetized, Danny, so don't worry. I won't bill you for anything.
Saying fuck off, mate, has been said.
But again, thank you to the chat. Thank you to the patron members. I've had your name scrolling below. Big ups to yourself. Thank you for joining in another edition of this Friday live stream show. We'll see you all next week. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
I'm on you, Spurs.
Course.
United Spurs of America with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.